Gemini Collective. Welcome. I'm Nikki, your local vegan terrorist. And we're going to do your love reading. Alright. We're going to read from Hya and Hya. Read for the masculine, read for the feminine, and then we'll read for the truth in this connection. Well, let's see what's going on with Gemini masculine. And now if you're the Gemini feminine, this is what's going on with your masculine in this connection. So this is the masculine side of the connection, whether it's the Gemini or not. Whoa. Oh, the Sun, Three of Cups, Queen of Cups. All right, we've got a love offer coming in, a date. Somebody is going to be revealing something with the Sun that is happy, joyful, a reason to celebrate with the Three of Cups here. You could meet this person at a celebration, or they're inviting you. They could be inviting you to attend some sort of celebration. And then we got this Queen of Cups. This Queen of Cups has had her heart on lockdown. Why? Oh. Well, these are upside down. I guess I shuffled them from the reverse, but we have the Six of Wands, the Four of Wands. We'll do one more shuffle just to clear the fear. Because when the feminine, reading for the feminine, if the cards are in reverse, if they come out in reverse, there could be some sort of doubts or fears or apprehensions. And with the Six of Wands coming out in reverse and the Four of Wands coming out in reverse, or appearing, kind of popping out in the reverse, but not fully. You know, Six of Wands, I keep wanting to say Six of Swords, which is like waiting to be rescued. But the Six of Wands is self-recognition, feeling self-assured, and getting the recognition that you deserve for all of the work that you've done, right? This figure here has 6 hands, 3 sets of hands. And this could be someone who has been sort of hyper-independent in their work with the wands there. This could be a feminine who often leads the conversations, initiates contact, pursues masculines, and then they're like, why do I keep receiving non-masculine masculines? Because you're doing the masculine work, because fire is masculine. Yeah, you've been praying for this feminine, you've been praying for this love, you've been praying to kind of be rescued. You're tired of doing things all by yourself. You're tired of leading the way. You kind of want to be led. You would be okay being led by someone if they were a good leader. Yeah, this is someone who you developed this hyper independence feminines because you probably had I'm getting like a tyrant of a parent. Could be a maternal figure here. You also could have been, you could have witnessed a mother emasculating your father or their male partners if you had like stepfathers, or if you didn't know your father, if you never knew or met your biological father, it's like the way that your mother showed, or like how they just like didn't instruct you or show you and guide you. That's what a feminine does. Is feminine energy guides, masculine leads. So they're both showing you ways, but one is active and one is passive. Because when you guide someone, like I get like when you're doing yoga, like when I would lead yoga classes, you're representing what they can do. And I taught yin yoga specifically, so it's very feminine. It's all about like passively allowing yourself. It's not passive aggressive. It's not that bullshit, which maybe you were around that a lot, and that really influenced like and gave you false instructions on how to communicate. Because if you're not able to set boundaries, if you're not able to request your needs, if you're not able to stick up for yourself, that's what the Six of Wands does. I was going to say Seven of Wands, which is a runner. Like, it could have made you just run because you're like, they don't know how to read my mind, because that's what you saw. They don't understand me. They're never going to do it. Like, this self-fulfilling prophecy of, like, you kept repeating a cycle. I feel like the feminine kept repeating a cycle that the mother just misrepresented. And if you were raised by a father, maybe the father was very passive and they were in their feminine energy and they kept attracting, or maybe you had like I don't want to say like a wicked stepmother, but you could have had a stepmother that was like very domineering. Because this is someone who, like, this is clarifying the Three of Cups, right? And this is like a feminine who is essentially emasculating this young boy, barking at him. But see how he's plugging his ears? He's like, I'm not listening. So feminines, you could have been with masculines before that you tried to express your emotions. You tried to tell them, this is how I feel. And they're like, well, feelings aren't facts. I don't know why I'm kidding that, but that would be annoying. Feelings are 100% facts. Okay? They are. All right? That is the beauty of feminine energy, the intuition. That is a truth. Truth is facts. Now, they're not facts that you can base, scientific studies on or whatever. I mean, you probably can, just because of, like, how much we know about, like, chemical responses and hormonal receptors and reactions, and how we can test all of that. We can do imaging on brain scans and all that, so we can, like, see what's going on, like what the scientific representation of is an emotional experience. So we can actually, like, measure that. But I don't know where that came from, but, like, I don't know, maybe that's something you've tried to, like, say. Ooh, we got a Food Lion truck. So maybe Leo, somebody could have Leo placements. That is the Six of Wands, is Leo energy, and it's clarifying the sun here. So you could be dealing with a Leo or have Leo placements, but Leo is a very strong, dominant, but not dominant like domineering, not dominant like sadistic. Dominant like, I know myself, I know where I'm going, I know where I want to take you. This is a very assertive masculine. There's no passive aggression here. This is not a passive masculine who has been so emasculated. I mean, they may have grown up with these similar parental dynamics, but this is a masculine who has built themselves to a point where they know that they want to celebrate with this feminine. They know they want to take this feminine out on a date. They want to offer them love. And they see this feminine sitting over here in this Queen of Cups with their cup locked down. Like, it's like a gauntlet. And they're willing to, right, run the gauntlet. And this is not like this isn't some sort of like childish game that they're gonna play. This is not a masculine who's gonna play games. This is a masculine who is willing to surpass the efforts, if we even want to call it that, the tentative efforts, the timid, pathetic, pitiful little attempts. We'll call them attempts because it's not even efforts. Because it's like a passive masculine or a masculine that is in their feminine, right, is imbalanced. And so if they receive the tiniest bit of confrontation, now confrontation is not pejorative, okay? When something is wrong or when a need is unmet, you need to confront it, period. And if that makes you look like you are some sort of crazy feminine, oh gosh, you're like too emotional, or like that's a feelings-based thing, it's like, no, something is off here. I trust it, and if you want to trust it as well, or if you trust me, I feel a lot of lack of trust. like trust in authority figures, because you had, I think, poor representation of what authority looked like. It was domineering. It wasn't like, we have dominion as a vegan channel. We have dominion over the planet, and people will use that as an excuse to exploit, rape, murder, destroy the planet of all of her resources. So maybe you're very environmentally conscious. You obviously could be vegan. You could have been attracted to this channel for that reason. But this is someone who's like conscious about those things and has compassion and knows that just because yes, you have dominion over your children. You could have children, or this could be how you view your parents, right? Like, just because they are the ones who technically own you, they own you until you are of legal age, they can make any decision for you, that doesn't mean you abuse that right, okay? And so if you submit to a masculine, if feminines submit to a masculine that is a false masculine, and you hand over those rights, right, you're trusting them to lead you, and they lead you astray. And I think that's probably some experiences that you've had in the past with lovers, maybe with a father figure, maybe with a mother figure, right? It's like these false guides, these false prophets, these false idols, right? Because we idolize our parents. Their word is final. Their word is gospel. We trust them because we have no choice but to trust them as infants and as children. And then we hit a point where we start to push back because things don't make sense. Things don't line up. What you're saying does not match your actions. We can call them out as liars. We can isolate them as behaviors of theirs or misbehaviors of theirs as needing to be confronted. And when you try to confront them, you may have had to move out early. You may have just like had a really hard time living at home. You may have gotten in trouble in school a lot, or at home a lot. You might have been grounded a lot because it's like you were a problem child. And you weren't a problem child. You were just asking questions that these people did not want to answer. Which is the case whenever you confront like a narcissist, all right? And that's not a clickbait term, right? We talk about real narcissism here, okay? Because it is not just, and it's societally wants to be diminished. Why? Because the grand conspiracy, the false magician that wants to divide all of us from the collective, wants to isolate us, right? Disempower us as a collective, because when we are connected, we're fucking powerful. And the false magician, the grand narcissist, the devil, whatever you want to call it, that energy is very real, just like divine energy is very real. That energy that wants to detour us from our path, that wants to detract us and subject us to all of these exploitative things that happen in the world. I'm going to go on like a whole rant about veganism and environmentalism, and I'm just not going to go there. But if you know, you know. Because I feel like you've dealt with this. You've dealt with these false magicians. And for a long time, it made you doubt your ability to alchemize. That's why the Six of Wands was wanting to come out in the reverse. Because that's somebody who did not feel like they had the power. They were so disempowered. And the reason that you were kind of, all of these energies were around you, all these false entities were around you, is because you were onto something. From incarnation, you were put here to be a cycle breaker, to be an activist, all right? To motivate change, to inspire unity. And this is in a very big way, and this is the work that you're going to be doing. The twin flames are not just like Hollywood, okay? What I talk about here, what we talk about here, twin flames are here to contribute to the grand rising of alchemy for the collective. It is the change that is needed in the world, in the collective. It is a universal shift that we are all contributing to, and it's by coming into union which, yeah, it's great for the body, it's great for the mind, it's great for the spirit, it's going to be fun, you're going to get to go out, you're going to celebrate, you're going to have drinks, you're going to party, sex is going to be great, all that's going to be great, okay? That's all, like, that's like such subtext to your purpose, your divine purpose, when you come into union with your twin, all right? Because you are breaking cycles, you're healing cycles. You got to break it properly. It's been broken, but not reset. You have to re-break it and reset it, okay? So that it can be aligned, so that it can be straight, so that it can be stronger. You're healing stuff that's like just gone to the wayside ancestrally for generations. That's the word I'm looking for. All right, I want to pull for this Queen of Cups. I like this big energy here. Knight of Wands. Yeah, feminines have closed, and this is reading from the masculine, so the masculine sees why this feminine has been closed off to love, because they've dealt with these parasites. All right, could be some Sagittarius energy, but the Knight of Wands is Sagittarius energy. Not to like throw shade on Sagittarians, but this kind of energy is someone who's here for a good time, not a long time. And with the flea here, the parasite, there could have been some sort of like parasitic infection, like almost like a demonic infiltration. Could be STDs, STIs, could have really influenced your health. Like, this is a parasite. They're flying in on a flea. They're hopping in, bed hopping, relationship hopping. This kind of energy is someone who has never been alone. This is someone who hops from relationship to relationship because they can't stand the thought of being alone. Because if they were ever alone, like, you know, because you and your person have spent time alone doing the frickin' work, this person's never done the work. Because if you're ever forced into a place of solitude, you have to do the work. You have no choice. You either like yourself or you off yourself. One or the other. You either self-destruct, Annihilation, the movie Annihilation, which Natalie Portman is a Gemini and a vegan. Holla. And V for Vendetta, which is, you know, a lot of the vegan alchemists, I like that. Vegan activists, like the cube of silence. Woo, cup runneth over, an Ace of Swords. Ace of Cups and Ace of Swords. This is brand new. Oh, this is nothing like all that energy I do not like. Let's talk about this love, actually, because we've been talking about the past and the frustrating energy that got you to where you're like, okay, yeah, that's why I'm closed off, because I need love. Yes, you need a Knight of Cups. You need someone who speaks your love language. They see you for who you are, and they are not going to come in to disrupt that. This is a masculine in their divine masculine with the sun at the center of this. This is someone who is, thank you, Judgment Day. This is like, hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King, blah, 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 blah. God and sinners reconcile. Ooh, this is like this is going to help fill. The Seven of Cups is usually about like opportunities and all of that, and yes, that does speak to what I was saying, like the past energy of like you've just been through cycles of that flea rider, or just that energy that's tried to, it's been a parasite, all right? It's been that false magician trying to come in and manipulate how you feel about yourself, because if you felt about yourself like your truth, like God feels about you, all right? And I've kind of stumbled on saying God there because maybe somebody was raised in like a hyper-religious upbringing, and it was contorted and mutated into something demonic, which it often is, right? Dark energies get into, just like predators will, go to school to become teachers or coaches or whatever. Or, priests in the Catholic Church or in any church. Like, they're going to go where they have access to their prey. And you see that in the vegan community as well. If you've ever been on a vegan dating site, like, or interacted with them, there are some that are just like self-righteous, angry vegans. The angry vegans, like, and not angry like we need change and like I'm frustrated getting confronted with these same questions over and over. There's a need to be right. And if you are sacred in your truth, right? If you are confident and convicted in your truth, whatever that truth is, whatever you believe, no one else can threaten it by speaking their truth, right? If like, that's why God and sinners reconcile. Like, you can sit down with somebody who might be Buddhist, and if you consider yourself a Christian, you're like, I'm a Christian, 100%. A Buddhist is not going to threaten you, right? But if you question your beliefs, if you're not convicted in what you believe, then that Buddhist is going to have to be wrong. Because otherwise, if they're not wrong, you can't be right. Once you are convicted in your truth, it's an unnecessary waste of energy to need others to be wrong. They're not wrong. They just see things differently. And isn't that variety beautiful anyway? Like, even like Jesus went down with the sinners, you know? Anyway, yeah, there's like religious aspects here because we've got judgment, you know, and I'm just getting like there's some sort of like mutation of beliefs that you've had to like break down, analyze, reconfigure, and then set them right. And not for others. Like, you can't do the work for anybody else. You're doing it for yourself. And by doing it for yourself, genetically, you're helping rewrite the genetic code, right? Because we can alter our genetics through behaviors. So we can like measurably do that work for our ancestors, meaning the next generation, right? We can't rewrite the past, but we can heal the future, or we can heal the past so that the future is rewritten. Like, we're writing a new story. You could be writing something. Geminis typically like have that knack for writing, and like a fascination with words, and they're very analytical. So you've used that, but yeah, it's like somebody trusts their judgment. You can trust your judgment now, where I think before you weren't able to. You could have had like 2 major X's in your past that really made you go, wow, maybe I don't know what I'm doing in this love thing. It's particularly the feminine, because it is clarifying the Queen of Cups here with that, like, and this Queen of Cups, she always, you can see her little eyebrow looks like, she's looking at her cup like, where is he? Where's my masculine? Like, who are these fuck boys? Who are these, male or female, but just that fuck boy energy of that Knight of Wands. It's just like, go away. I'm looking for something longevity. I'm looking for longevity here. But this looks like, because you are leading the way in your truth, this is other people. I feel like you're helping other people, and this could be passed on loved ones, ancestors, because they are in the clouds here. It's like you're healing this so that others before you and those to come can fill their own cup and see how they're all different. There's something about like this wondrous variety of beliefs, and they're all, I mean, if you look at any religious text, they're all talking about the same damn thing, just change the nomenclature around, right? Like, it's like all humans want the same thing. We all want love. We all want to be free, to be understood, to be loved unconditionally. So there's something that you're doing here that's, with this love, it's going to be it's so major. It's so major, babe. All right, we'll get one more set of clarifiers, like more specifically about this connection. It's Scorpionic energy, death here at the center. King of Pentacles. Masculine could be an earth sign or have strong earth or fixed placements. That is Taurus energy there. Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, this is something solid to clarify the Queen of Cups and that task toxic energy. This masculine is coming in solid with fixed energy, which means like they know what they want. They know what they want. They know who they are. This is about compatibility. You want the same things. Your core values are the same. And I think you're going to be able to tell this in just a few conversations, because you've had so many conversations with those who just wanted to prove you wrong, diminish you, take from you, who had that leechy, parasitic energy, that didn't know themselves, that were not convicted in their truth, so they were like, well, I have to make sure you're wrong. It's not about proving you wrong. It's more of a yes and. Like, I acknowledge you, what you're saying, and let's add to that versus let's take away from it. That's also, yes and humor is really funny. It's like improv. So you could be into improv. You might meet this person in like a theater group or something where it's like in an environment where it's very playful. With the Three of Cups, it feels very playful, jovial. There are friends around. You might meet them through friends. But it's like you click where your banter feels very light. Like you don't take things so seriously anymore, because you've finally come to a place, both of you have finally come to a place after a lot of work and a lot of healing, a lot of self-analysis and possibly isolation, where you've had to go, like you just don't take things as seriously. If people disagree with you, you're like, okay. You know, where before maybe you had this like need to prove them wrong, or you felt like you had to prove yourself right. I don't feel like you've ever had that desire to prove others wrong. I feel like others have wanted to prove you wrong, and you're like, no, and maybe you over-explained, over-analyzed yourself because you felt like you had to prove yourself right. Now you don't feel like you have to prove yourself right anymore, because you understand what that confrontation is, or what that because that's not even a confrontation. A confrontation can be it's necessary. Like, we confront something and then it becomes a discussion. This is like a confrontation. Like, maybe you asked people questions about their beliefs because you were genuinely curious with that Sagittarius energy. Maybe you were very curious. And Geminis are pretty curious too. Like, most mutable signs have that curiosity where that mutable energy where they're like, the discernment between the head and the heart, right? Because all mutable signs are like a triangle, right? Which is the Magician, which is alchemy. But triangles could be a symbol for you. You could have a tattoo with a triangle. Ooh, I just felt like I went into like a warp there, because so there could be something very significant about triangles for you. Maybe a piece of jewelry, or like symbols around you. Maybe you like paint or something. There could be something where like you've always been fascinated by triangles. Maybe pyramids. You could have like Egyptian ancestry, or like or ancestry where like pyramids, because I know Egyptians are not the only ones, but it's like there's this very like old connection here. But it feels very light and jovial, even though like the work you're doing is very heavy work together to shift the collective and to enhance those around you and their ability to love themselves, and they get this, the people around you. I feel like you have like a variety of friends and people around you, like they're all different, they're all so like eclectic, but at your core values are all the same, because it's like you're free to just be yourself. You're free to express yourselves, And like if you say you have an opinion that differs from somebody else, it's not going to blow up or like melt down. It's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Why do you believe that? And if you ask questions or people inquire, this space feels really unique. It's almost like maybe you meet in college, like you could be in college or something, but it's like when you go to college and you have all these like random friends, or like you could be in the military, because when we would all get in our civvies, we'd be in our civilian clothes after work, or when we were able to like leave the base for when we were in training or whatever, like we would all go downtown or whatever, get drinks. We were all dressed the same in this uniform every day, and you would click up with people because you were authentically the same at your core. But then when you go out, you'd be like, wow, there would be like a cowboy and a goth and a jock and a nerd, and it's like everybody was like, if you had met in high school or under some sort of other circumstances, you may have never come together, but there's some way where it's like neutralized, where like in college, I guess, I don't know, I never went to like a conventional college like that, where you're all different, but you're all in the same class, like wanting to learn the same thing, and you all have this like thirst for knowledge. So it's like it's like I don't know, I'm getting like Portland, Oregon, like there's just like sort of like artsy collective connection between you and these people. I do feel like you either have a lot of friends around you now, or you're going to build a community together where you can have that. But it's based on like the that like beautiful yes and, which I love, because it's like you never say no, and not like you never have boundaries or anything, but you're not here to negate somebody's joke. Like if somebody's like, oh, what are you, part of the Illuminati? Then you're like, how'd you know? And my father's father, and I don't know, that's just like, I don't know why that's the only, because I got triangles in my head right now. Triangles in my head, maybe like that, like dinner time, maybe you're gonna go out to dinner or something, but I'm getting the triangle, like ding, 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 which is where you like call everybody from wherever the heck they are, and it's dinner time. They know it's time to gather around a table, and you talk about your day, and it's like it represents kind of an old, very beautiful way of families. It's like this Norman Rockwell painting where people come together at the dinner table, and they're not on their fucking cell phones, and they're not like distracted from each other, and they actually ask like, how was your day? Who was that? And they remember like things that are important to you, even if they're not, it's important to them because you're important to them. But even if it's something that's like not their primary interest, they're curious about it because you're curious about it. I don't know, you could be blending families with this person, or again, blending like friends together, and it's like very different. You could come from very different cultures, so you could have like some big families coming together. Like I just feel like it's I just started my big fat Greek wedding, so there could be some Greek ancestry there, but there's like this, but you're at your core, you're talking about the same thing, and you're willing to make these adjustments for each other, because it's like if somebody has to convert or whatever, I mean, they don't have to, but it's like whatever you're talking about. It reminds me of Sex and the City, where Charlotte, she's always been dealing with these people who just don't have the same values as her. They just want one thing. She's pretty, so they just want to like take. Also, like the art, I'm getting, she works in an art gallery, so there's something like with the arts that's very important in this connection, and you can all talk about different things, like not actually Picasso was at this, or actually Van Gogh didn't cut off his ear for that reason, or it's like, who gives a shit? Like we're here to just talk about the beauty of life and art and having ideas, and so I do feel like there's a lot of people around you, but I'm not sure if you meet in isolation and then you build this community. Like your love represents so much, and that might heal Like if you do come from different cultural backgrounds, that might heal the family dynamics, because it's like, oh, we've been so closed-minded in thinking like our family or our beliefs versus these beliefs. But it's like you two coming together and people seeing how beautiful this love is and how open and it feels like agreeable, but not passive agreeable, but very like, we don't need to nitpick here because we're talking about the same thing. So if you say, you know, like one of you could be colorblind, and it's like you both know that you're looking at the same thing, but one of you calls it green, one of you calls it red. Like, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit what color we call it? It could be interracial. And yeah, maybe I feel like your love is going to have a ripple effect by not just healing yourselves, your ancestral lines, and any family that you do bring into this world, or that you connect. It's like you're connecting other people. You're sort of like this collaborative hub for creativity and expression and true connection and like collaboration of ideas. There's a lot of rich ideas, and I think that's going to be so inspiring and moving and motivating for others to just go, what are we fighting for? Like, it feels very kumbaya, like, for lack of better terms. It's just, but not that there are better terms than kumbaya. Kumbaya is like, come on, let's do this. Oh, what is it? The African word for that kind of unity. Oh gosh, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's like Ubuntu. It's like UNTU, I think. But yeah, it's like at the center, it's like something that you're taking something that was so scary to others around you. And in this dating world, yeah, you could have like a lot of single friends and they're like, I'm not doing that. You know, like I don't want to date any, like it's terrifying out there. You're making it look so easy because it really is. Love is simple. And so it's like you're showing others that it's not just achievable, right? Because achievable sounds like you got to work for it. Like you've done a lot of work on yourself, but the coming together, the unification, the union is actually quite easy. Because when you know yourself, you're not trying, it's not a competition. You're not trying to change anybody. You can let them be their freest expression of themselves. And that is what unconditional love is. Ooh, that makes me emotional. I like that. But yeah, I've been listening to that Ubuntu chanting. And oh man, it just does. It's like, oh, like, can't we all just get along? Kumbaya. And I think that you guys are representing that in such a beautiful way that feels like, finally feels like a reality to people who I think it didn't feel like a reality to. It felt very far away from them. So I really hope there was something in here for you, Gemini, because we need this. The collective needs this. Shit, I need it. I mean, this is what we're all here for. We're ready to come into union with our person, and that union looks like unconditional love. It feels like unconditional love. And for most, all of us, we've never felt that. We've never experienced that. So go out there and show us how it's done, Gemini. And until next time, I wish you well.